Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Universal Survival Saga for the Team of the Week and discuss probably one of the most versatile units or teams in the game, where they have a lot of units that do a lot of amazing, interesting things, but there is also a limitation to them in certain events. So for me personally, this is one of my favorite teams in the game. I'm sure plenty of people love this team. It has some incredibly strong units across the board, and it has a ton of versatile options. In terms of leaders, there are two major leaders: the Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, who is the best lead from a stats point of view, and then you have the AGL Jiren, who is also a 200% lead that covers a lot of categories. There is also Tech MUI Goku, or UI Goku, who is very, very good, and I don't have him, but he is definitely a unit you can consider. You can add him to pretty much all the lists of units that I'll mention. And yeah, in general, for me, those are your three major leads. Whichever one you use is up to you, probably due to availability, but I personally like running double Vegeta. People don't like Vegeta, I understand, but I personally enjoy running him a lot. In terms of tanks, your tanky options are Jiren. His standby skill makes him pretty tanky, and afterwards he can be quite tanky as well, with 60% damage reduction and his abilities. Then we have Int Frieza Goku, who are a more conditional tank, who can tank depending on the health threshold that they have. Then we have Int SSBE Vegeta, who is a pretty good tank in most situations. 1.7 million defense. He can have anywhere between 50 to 80% damage reduction depending on how many hits he's taken. There are windows of opportunity where, yes, he could potentially take damage from a super of some kind, but generally speaking he's still very reliable. And then as long as evasion is not mandatory, UI Goku is pretty good. So as long as evasion is not cancelled, UI Goku is 100% an amazing tank, so reliable, so great from a defensive standpoint. Now let's talk about floaters. As I mentioned, in terms of Goku UI, the tech one, he's a very great option. He also can technically be a tank, especially once he transforms. He's a little bit more difficult to manage because of the utilization of his evasion ability, but his domain effect that negates evasion negation is a absolutely core component of the USS team and its ability to deal with certain events in ways other teams cannot. In terms of other units, obviously there are great selections. We have the physical Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Duo, who are a great damage dealer. We have 17 and Frieza, who are a very considered, very consistent floating / second slot damage dealer. We have a very versatile support in the form of Android 17 Reps of Universe 7, who has the ability to provide a lot of coverage as a floating support. And you also have some interesting options such as Physical Topo, who is of course a good damage dealer and emergency tank once he transforms. The key core component of the Universal Survival Saga team is that it has some really incredible versatile options. Topo could tank for one turn. Frieza and Goku can switch between tanking forms. You have the Super Saiyan Blue Evoken duo, who when falling below a certain health threshold can tank and do damage. There's a lot of active skills, there's a lot of revives, there's a lot of just good utility that this team has. And it's one of the things that makes it so good, alongside the fact that the majority of the units start out very, very strong. Like, they start out very, very, very strong. So yes, there are some alternative options, of course. Like I mentioned, we have Tech MUI Goku, we have Strength Kefla. In certain situations, Tech Kefla is a great choice. Caulifla, sorry, because of her ability to auto-evade certain units. You have some really strong Universe 6 options. You have Jiren, Tech Jiren is amazing. You have MVP 17, who, if you're struggling, can still be a very solid support. It's not necessarily just this is the set limit on the team. These are definitely the strongest units, I would say, especially if you consider Tech MUI Goku. But overall, personally, my suggestion would be, realistically, that there's a lot of flexi options in this team. And that's really what the team comes down to. It's flexibility. You've got, 4 different styles of tanking, but then you also have emergency styles of tanks. You also have transformations. You've got revives. We've got heals. We've got instant damage abilities. We've got auto damage abilities. We've got interrupt abilities. We've got abilities that will give rotations key. We've got tons of interesting effects that this team can provide. And for me, it is absolutely one of the most flexible, well-coordinated teams ever. And because of its ability to have Torment of Power as a link, which is absolutely crucial. So a lot of these units have Torment of Power, which is an amazing link, by the way, 3 key and 7% attack and defense. It is incredibly, incredibly strong. Now, support memory, realistically, you're looking at the Torment of Power one, obviously, but you can also look at the Siblings Bond one as well, because that will also give you a heal, a bit of a boost, and of course, you can always apply the Belmore one if necessary. I think you would generally just go for the Universal Survival Saga flat stat boost, but obviously that's just going to depend on you as a person. Now, rotations are going to be interesting, and please bear in mind if you have Tech UI Goku, things will change a little bit. Tech UI Goku especially changes things up because he is, technically speaking, not an amazing tank before he transforms. He's okay, but in today's level of content, he can be caught out. The thing is, it's not too bad. Like, once you can get him to transform, then things are incredible. Obviously, that does come with the prerequisite that you have to transform him wisely if you're in an event that disables evasion. So talking about your rotations and floaters and everything like that, for me, there is always a incredibly good, I want to say, like, understanding in terms of rotations and floaters. So when it comes down to rotations, I, for one, like to split the SSBE Vegeta and the UI Goku if possible. If you're running both of them, you want to split them because that keeps a revive on each rotation. It's something that's incredibly crucial to this team. Those revives are amazing. We'll talk a little bit more about which one you want to activate, etc. But those revives are absolutely incredible. They are pretty much like one of the core components that makes this team so amazing, because the conditions on those revives are actually really simple a lot of the time. Then it's just going to depend on your team. AGL Jiren, more than fine to be a second slot option. Strength Vegeta, more than fine to be a second slot option. Int Frieza and Goku can be a first slot option, can be a second slot option, just depending on your use of them, your health threshold with them. Something that's very important to understand. Then you also obviously have, as I mentioned, Tech UI Goku. For me, the Strength Vegetas, so running one Strength Vegeta alongside another, running one Strength Vegeta alongside the Int Vegeta, not a good call because you're missing out on a ton of links, especially for the first off Vegeta. But you can do it if you're really desperate to run a Vegeta on each rotation. For me, one Strength Vegeta floating and one Strength Vegeta just running on a set rotation works more than fine for me in so many situations. Yes, usually the floating Vegeta takes quite a while longer to get his full on crit and everything, but defensively, generally, they're more than fine. Now, in terms of the teams and everything, I think there's a big understanding here in regards to the floaters. The floaters are going to be very dependent on just who you feel like running. I like running Android 17, provided I only have Jiren on my team. So Android 17, the way he works, universe reps of 17, it is crucial that you have 5 universe rep characters on your team. It is absolutely crucial that you have 5 or more reps of universe 7 team characters on your team. If you do, defensively the unit is more than sound. That extra 17% damage reduction that he gets from that is absolutely imperative. It makes him function at a very good defensive level for a floater. His start turn defense then suffices. Everything works with him really well. If you're running more than one alternative universe character, so if you're running like Jiren and Tech Jiren, you're going to want to prefer either 17 and Golden Frieza, or you're going to want to prefer maybe UI Goku. It's just going to depend a lot on, at that stage, what you are looking to work with based on that condition. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the active skills, the utilization of abilities, etc. So we have the revives. Firstly, the revives are an absolutely amazing ability that both Goku and Vegeta have. It's one of the core components that makes this team so strong. Now, the revive for Vegeta, functionally speaking, is something that's incredibly important. But Vegeta's one is a little bit more difficult than Goku's. So Vegeta's, basically, can happen after he's received 5 or more attacks. What is super important is that if his revive activates, he gets guards all attacks for that very first turn afterwards, which makes him way tankier for that turn after he comes out. Makes him far tankier. Unless the boss crits, it makes him insanely tanky. He gets all the rest, the ki, the attack and defense. It's all very good. Goku is different. So Goku will evade the enemy's attacks guaranteed. But this isn't as good because you see, for me, Goku's evasion is already so high. So Goku already has such a high level of evasion that chances are, the moment you get that first evade, Goku can just basically evade. Also, on top of that, depending on the event, it can be cancelled out. So it's something that's very crucial. In terms of actives, for me, they both do pretty much what you need them to do. Both will trigger their on super defense. Both will give them a little bit of a damage boost. Vegeta's is obviously better in AoE situations. That is definitely something that is for sure. But besides that, there's nothing else really to do with it. And the same with Goku's. It triggers a huge attack boost for him, which is amazing. So overall, both of their actives are just kind of more there for damage. The choice of when you use them is up to you. For me, realistically, there's no right or wrong way. They help, really to assist in terms of setting off a little bit of a stat boost for everyone. But for me, overall, I don't think there's a huge wrong way to use their actives. I would say try to use the actives if possible after the revives trigger for both of them, because that will give them a big stat boost, which will help the damage of those actives. Now, in terms of Frieza and Jiren, so with Jiren, there's very important things that you need to understand. Jiren's standby makes him incredibly tanky. Jiren's standby is a great ability. In his standby mode, he has 350% defense, 50% damage reduction. He gets all allies ki +3, and for every ki sphere he gets 11% damage reduction. So essentially, if you can grab 4 ki spheres with him, he's probably not going to take damage. He's at like 94% damage reduction then. The thing that you need to understand is you have to make sure that Jiren's standby mode ends. So you have to make sure that Jiren's standby mode ends with the finish attack. If you don't manually end the standby mode, he will just go back to base Jiren. And base Jiren is fine, but the difference between base Jiren and full power Jiren, especially in terms of the just general functionality of the unit, is very different. When Jiren receives a super attack and has the ability to see super attacks and has the ability to be so strong after his standby actives, it makes him a defensive, or he's defensively the same, but it makes him offensively incredibly strong. Like incredibly strong. Frieza or Goku is a bit different. So the big thing with Frieza Goku is that one is damage, one is utility. So Goku will give you heals, which is amazing. After Goku's heal triggers, your passive will count. So for example, if I was low on health and I triggered Goku's passive, or Goku's active, then his passive, his defensive passive, will trigger after his active ability. Frieza, on the other hand, his ability is all about damage. It's all about damage. It's all about triggering damage. It was basically, realistically, a really strong ability. The thing about it is you know, what it does, it gives you that temporary attack boost and also gives you guaranteed critical hit. So basically, to cut a long story short and to kind of wrap up this team, there are so many amazing actives, so many amazing passives, so many amazing abilities it can do. It starts off incredibly strong. It's incredibly powerful. It has versatility, damage, revives, defense, standby skills, situational actives, and we're not even including MUI Goku and his amazing disabling evasion negation. So overall, is this team great? Yes. Where does it struggle? Long events. It's not got amazing scalability. But I think for me, fundamentally, the team operates at a very high level. And I think it is an amazing team that players can enjoy using. It is incredibly versatile. It can tackle, barring the Festival of Battles, pretty much any variation of an event. And you should be able to have a really good chance at beating it. So yeah, that's it for me. Bye.